just informed us that we are live, so we want to capture the MOU signing before we go off air. So quickly, I'll be calling on Engineer Olufemi Akinyelure, the head, Nigerian Electrification Programme, for his presentation.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Please permit me to stand on already established protocol. It is a pleasure to be here this afternoon. Before I continue, Your Excellency, you would permit me to lean in on something the MD started, of how strategic Kebbi State is. And I will be speaking of that same very, very notorious commissioner, who happens to be a childhood friend also. So in fact, he has us in one place when it comes to this. Thank you very much. So at the PMU, Your Excellency, we implement projects across board. I won't bore you with going over all the same projects again. But at the core of everything that we do is what we call the results-based financing, which is essentially tied to what the MD mentioned earlier about raising private sector finance. You would agree with me that the O&M and the longevity of these systems is even more important than the installation in itself. And at the core, again, of all of this is the energy transition agenda of the federal government to increase the penetration of decentralized renewable energy across board. And just taking from what the EDTS mentioned of how we are trying to improve and increase the capacity and the expertise involved to be able to deploy at the scale that we need it. Obviously, we see that in Africa today, we have the youngest population. Even in Nigeria, more than half of our population is below 30 years of age. And if we're not able to ensure that this population is put to good use, then that problem becomes an issue for us. So at the core is turning these issues, whether it's the 80 million energy access issue that we have 80 million people without access, turning all of that into an opportunity for our people and turning all of that into some form of economic development. So the World Bank and the Africa Development Bank, in collaboration with the REA, have been implementing this project over the past 5 years. And there's been a lot of successes that have been registered across board. In the first program with the World Bank, we have been able to deploy over 180 mini-grid installations across the country. We've also deployed over 1 million solar home systems in the country. Very critical is also the Energizing Education Program, which we've been able to deploy these interconnected systems at 7 key universities with 2 teaching hospitals. Your Excellency, those installations are currently operational and closely also followed by the phase 3 under the Africa Development Bank, where we have another additional 8 universities coming on stream in the next few weeks with 1 teaching hospital. So across those 2 programs, we implement these energy access projects using the results-based financing, providing grants to the developers who are able to leverage on private capital to get the installations done in a sustainable and affordable manner. Based on the successes we had recorded, we have a new program called the DARES, which the MD had mentioned earlier is the largest publicly funded energy access program globally today. And we have His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic, to thank for having that confidence in the REA to take on this mantle. In designing that DARES program, we had a lot of lessons learned from the initial project, and I'll just stick to a few of those lessons that was, put into the design. One is the deployment at scale. So in the initial program, you had developers who were able to deploy 2 projects, 3 projects here and there, but at this point, we realized that to take advantage of economies of scale, you need developers that can deploy really at utility scale, which makes it affordable across board. We also see that to improve the capacity utilization of these systems, one thing that has been mentioned a lot here today is around productive use. We want to see connections, but it's also about the quality of the connections, right? Because you need to ensure that this access translates to some form of economic activity. For example, in Kebbi, I know there's a lot of fishing that goes on, but what happens is you fish and you're not able to store because there's no access to cooling. And we have these standalone cooling systems across the country. Honorable Minister, we're having the conversation earlier on around shea butter and around how we lose 95% of the value just because there are no processing equipment in these communities. So one key area that we are focused on is to increase and improve the deployment of this productive equipment, standalone, powered by solar in these communities. Next slide. So this gives you a snapshot of all the projects that we run, but one critical part I like to focus on is the reason why we are here today. His Excellency the President had signed the new Electricity Act, which gave the states more powers on the electricity market. And based off of that, the REA at the center of that, led by the MD, had been having these collaborations to ensure that no state is left behind, really, and we are able to ensure that the right capacities is developed within the states. And in order to incentivize that, we've come up with a subnational intervention under the DES program, which essentially has a set of criteria for every state that wants to be involved to be eligible. One of the critical factors is for those states to have passed their regulation and their policies of their electricity market, and also carry out a rooftop study, of the entire state. That is then provided to us, among other criteria, which we are used to bring them on board, and we deploy energy systems in public sector institutions within those states. But we also hold the states accountable to ensure that the long-term O&M is secured by some form of agreement and with the state. Next slide, please. So this just goes to stress the level of impact that we want to have in scaling up. I think the first program, really we had about an impact on over 7 million Nigerians. And in this program, we are looking at a minimum of 17.5 million Nigerians to be impacted. I say a minimum of that because if you look at the figures at the bottom, we are looking to deploy about 465 megawatts of power into the system. And I can say today that with the level of agreements we are signing, we might probably double, if not triple that. And that goes, it's kudos to all the rescues in the room for giving that commitment and allowing us to achieve that feat. Next slide, please. So again, I won't go too far into this, but it's just to re-emphasize the importance of the rescues we have in the room. And based off of that importance, at the REA, we also have an enhancement facility that allows these developers to raise private sector financing in the most efficient manner. We saw in the last program that one thing that hindered progress was that they weren't able to access early project lifecycle finance. So one thing we're trying to prove is to improve their corporate governance, give them the necessary capacity building that is required to leapfrog them in getting the finance that is required. Next slide, please. Important again is the barriers to entry that we see for the states. I'd mentioned around the regulatory environment and the licensing. How easy is it for, what's the ease of doing business like in the States is very, very, very important. And I'm sure you hear from the rescues later on. Critical issue again is access to land. How are rescuers able to access the required land that they need to deploy these systems, and what are the processes set in place for the ease of doing that business in the state? We've mentioned financing earlier. Key again to this is community sensitization. The states are the closest to the people on ground, so we always need that hand-holding with the state and local governments to ensure that they don't just see us as another government project that is for free. Anything given for free is not sustainable. So we want to ensure that that is passed on to them for them to enjoy these projects for the lifespan. The last thing I would speak about on this slide has to do with the interconnected mini-grids, which we see as a key bridge between the grid and the decentralized space. For years now, the grid side had seen this off-grid space. We've been at a tough war. But I think with the Electricity Act now, we're learning to work together, and these interconnected mini-grids are key to the expansion and penetration of energy access in Nigeria. To round up, Your Excellency, I would mention a few projects, just two of them. A few years ago, led by the MD, we deployed 150 kilowatt systems across Nigeria to 100 sites, 50 kilowatt systems to 100 medical centers across Nigeria. And we had two of those installations in Kebbi, one in the Kebbi Medical Center, one in Sir Yahaya Hospital, Benin, Kebbi. The impact of these installations really cannot be overemphasized. The amount of lives that have been saved due to just having this access to this power is really incredible. So, as we go along in this session, I would like us to see this as a service that would impact lives other than just the megawatts and kilowatts, but see ourselves as offering a service that can really transform the trajectory of our country moving forward. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Olufemi Akinyelure, the head, Nigerian Electrification Programme. We'll be going straight into the next presentation by Ayoade Boyega, the Executive Director, Corporate Services, REA.
From here. Start slide here. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, Deputy Governor of Kebbi State, the MD of REA, former Honorable Minister of Power. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to stand on the already established protocols. Your Excellency, I just have something really quickly to say to you, sir. If at all you are going to arrest anybody after this event, please, I am not one of them. There is a guy here who has made an audacious statement while he was on this podium. I don't know where he's got the braveness for, or to say that Kebbi State has scored only 1/5 in the state assessment. I don't know. Your Excellency, I'm not part of that class. I think, in my own opinion, even though I haven't seen the assessment, I think Kebbi State scored 5/5. So yes, let's leave that. Now the boring stuff, but the most important part of it. You'll all agree with me that one of the issues we have in this country is lack of maintenance culture. And that is where I come in to talk about sustainability. It's either the projects we have worked on in the past, successive governments, they have not planned sustainability into those projects, thereby allowing this project to go moribund, and some of them, at the end of the day, become very useless because people are unable to use them after they've been implemented after a number of years. So I think at the REA, we are very, very intentional about what we do. What we do is we look at every project and we plan it end to end. How do we ensure that once we implement this project, in the next 10, 20 years, people are still able to use this project? What do we have to do as an agency to ensure that that is the case? So at REA, we have created a framework called the REUS, Renewable Energy Users Cooperative Society, to ensure that everywhere where we build our grids or mini grids or any of these projects that my colleagues have mentioned, in any of these locations that they are built, we created a cooperative society to be able to manage this project, to be able to to ensure that the operation and maintenance of this project are in place. You also agree with me that one of the issues that you have with renewable energy projects, most especially the mini grids, is the issue of these batteries not working after a number of years. In some areas or in some situations, what you then have is that after those 10 years, if you do not build sustainability into this project, people will not be able to replace that battery after the battery stopped working. Or if any of the components get faulty along the line, there won't be funds enough to replace them. That is why we have set up or we have created this reuse framework. Is that the first slide? Okay, I'll just go by my notes. So when you talk about sustainability, I'm sure Femi has talked, Engineer Omar, the EDTS, spoke about the technical sustainability. Femi also talked about the financial sustainability. Social sustainability is also one of them, and environmental sustainability. So what the reuse look at is reuse meshed all these 4 components of sustainability together, and then that is what the framework actually works on. Next slide. What are the roles of reuse in any project sustainability? It provides ownership and accountability. Reuse empower communities to own and manage any of these assets. One of the reasons why you will also agree with me that one of the reasons why projects don't last in Nigeria, especially power infrastructure, is the issue of vandalism. So you see people, you build, they have a transformer in one area, they go there, cut the wires and the cables and then run away. Even in our own office where we have our mini grid, people came overnight and took the batteries and ran away with them. You see, but when the people of the society, the community feels a part of the project, they are able to protect it even better. You hear, they know the people in their communities that are wayward people, so they will say, Abba, don't go to that infrastructure, please. It's our own. You understand? And then also maintenance and system longevity, which I spoke to earlier on. People were able to maintain it even further, longer, and then the system then is able to work for more than enough time. You have social inclusion, so everyone within the community is able to participate and then use energy at an equal rate. You have revenue collection, so the cooperative society decides how they collect revenue, what revenue is accruable to the society, and how they apply that revenue when it comes to O&M at the end of the day. Community engagement and awareness, local economic empowerment, which is very critical, the local economic empowerment, because within this space, reuse support local businesses, and I'm sure Femi spoke about PUE earlier, productive use of energy. This is where the community, the cooperative society now says, okay, fine, we have a lot of barbers amongst ourselves. How do we get them clippers so that they can be able to tap into this energy? We have a lot of farmers amongst us. How do we ensure that they are able to get solar-powered irrigation pump and all those equipments that they need to do their farming in order to be able to use the energy that is being provided to them? Next slide. So just to what I just mentioned now, so reuse would help enhance system reliability, cultural fit and local adaptation, financial resilience, scalability, and replicability. It is easy to scale reuse. In fact, as we speak, we are currently in the process of establishing reuse across all the 36 states of the Federation. It is a work that is ongoing within the REA to see how we can liaise with commissioners of energy in each of the states and transfer this framework to them and see how that can work across the states. Because with the advent of theirs, where we are creating, we're building all these infrastructures around the country, it is now very, very important that we also ensure that the people that we are building these infrastructures for are aware of how to sustainably manage this infrastructure across all their communities. Next. We'll go to the next one. Next slide, please. No, the previous. Okay, leave this one. So in the last few years, maybe 2 to 3 years, and I have one thing I wrote down here, but I don't think I can still find it. MD mentioned about $2 billion investments in the last few years in the renewable energy sector. Femi has about $750 million with him under the DES project. Under the EART project, you're talking about another close to $500 million. My friend and colleague, Abba Umar, the EDTS, within the capital budget this year, would oversee close to another 500 billion naira worth of investment. Majority of these funds are going to go into renewable energy. 90% of it. So we put so much money into renewable energy, and the figure speaks for itself in this slide here. So renewable energy job created globally, it's around 16.2, according to, what are they called now again? According to IRENA. Out of the 16.2 million jobs created in the last 2-3 years, China took about 7.4 million of those jobs. Nigeria took only about 76,000 jobs from that amount of job created, even though we have invested over 10 to $15 billion in renewable energy space. I don't think that is good enough. I think we should do more as a country. We should do more as a government to ensure that whilst we try to bridge the energy access gap, we also use that opportunity to create jobs for our teeming youth who are currently unemployed. The rate of employment in this country is alarming, and majority of the people that are currently bearing the brunt of this unemployment are the youth of the country. And if we have this opportunity while we invest so much money into renewable energy, I think we should leverage that opportunity to ensure that we create jobs for our youth. One thing that we are currently doing at REA is that we are very intentional, like I said earlier on. For everywhere you see, most especially under the EEP2, for everywhere you see us build this infrastructure in any of the universities that have been mentioned by my colleague, we also build a world-class training facility where at the inception of every project we train 20 STEM students from soil testing to actually mounting the mini-grids in those areas where they are already hands-on in it. Last week, on Saturday, we went to Maiduguri. Apart from the 20 STEM students that we trained, now what we are now going further to do is that where we build all these infrastructures, we are targeting training 1,500 people or 1,500 youths across Nigeria in renewable energy space. Last week, Saturday, we were in Maiduguri to inaugurate to commission the training facility or the training of about 100 cohorts in Maiduguri because of the infrastructure that was built in Maiduguri. We are doing something similar for, we are also doing RESCO Next Gen, where we are training about 130 students. Please move to that slide. So NESCO Next Gen, where we're training students. This is the one in Maiduguri. This is NESCO Next Gen. The next one. So today we are here and we're speaking about Kebbi State. In Kebbi State, like Engineer Umar mentioned earlier, as part of the commitment to advancing energy transition and sustainability agenda in Kebbi State, the agency has identified similar projects, which includes the proposed procurement and construction of a solar microgrid for Federal Polytechnic, Gwandu, Kebbi State. I think it's important that we are able to replicate the same thing that we did in Maiduguri here in Kebbi State under the solarization project. We might not build the state-of-the-art facility to train people there, but you see, when you learn theoretically, it is not the same as learning hands-on. When you already have the facility, when we've built the infrastructure, and then you come into the place like they're doing in Maiduguri currently, you see the mini grid, you see the meters, you see the solar panels, it is a lot easier for people to learn. Before I leave, I would just like to say this. As we strive as a country to bridge the energy access gap, let us also strive to create more employment using that energy access gap that we're bridging. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ED Corporate Services, REA. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, moving on, I'll be inviting Mohammed Jibril, the Technical Advisor, Office of the MD, to spotlight Kebbi State through the VIDA platform.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Good afternoon, MD, the former Minister of Power, distinguished guests. Allow me to adopt the already established protocol, please. My name is Mohammed Jibril. I'm a technical advisor to the Managing Director of REA, and I think we've had some bold assertions from MD. He usually starts presentations with REA has this amount of money, REA is willing to do this, REA has done this in this community and in this state, and this is the readiness of this community or that state, and this is their deficit in your state, and so on. And with these assertions, they're usually numbers. You would see the solar readiness, you would see the number of communities. I think there was a chart that shows the entirety of Kebbi State and based on the local governments and the rate of electrification. I think within the last year or so, we've been very deliberate in taking a hands-on approach on how we plan electrification. If a $750 million DARES project would come in, and then there's an equivalent or more within the REF and the capital project, we want to be able to say, this is how much it will take us into electrifying Nigeria. What percentage of deficit would it cut from the list that we have? And that's why we always have our eyes on these numbers as we progress. The more money we have, the more we're able to take out some of these communities. There are also assertions around the rich statistics that REA has on Kebbi State, from the profile of the state to the number of communities to how far they are from the mini-grid, making them off-grid or on-the-grid, to their potential when it comes to agriculture, the technologies that we could use based on the kind of profile they have. Is there availability of water within or around the community? Is it a farming community that could enable some kind of biomass system and so on? Aside from these gaps that we have around lack of access, we also have opportunities. And my presentation is to validate some of these bold numbers, show it in real time, do some bit of demonstration, hopefully would breathe life into what MD said about showing some house of a certain commissioner in a particular. I'll try my best to see if we can showcase that house today. I hope I am able to. So if we look at the screen, Your Excellency, it's quite blurry, but you would see the map of Nigeria with several dots here, dots of pink and blue and light blue and dark blue. And all of this signifies communities, but it also signifies how we rate this community. It could be, and it's even more important to the private sector, because their concern is, if I go to a community and this community has 1,000 connections, they would automatically start to make calculations of how much grant I can receive from REA to take this project there. But we also have a mechanism here that tells us how do we rate or evaluate these proposals from them, based on maybe, for example, distance from the grid. If a community is very close to Abuja and another one is like 100 or 200 kilometers, it wouldn't be fair to evaluate them in the same way. So the farther you go, the more risk you take, the more subsidy and grant you can fetch. So all of this is signified on the screen. On the left side, there's a blurry number there that shows 154,251 communities that have been mapped. And this is through the effort of MD and management to say, where are all the communities? Map it from Lagos, that has about 2,666,162 buildings, to the community with 2 or 3 buildings. Let's see where they are first. And then we can start to filter them based on what we want There could be a program, for example, the rooftop that the HNEP spoke about, that would look at some cities, not villages. And if we focus just on rural communities, we would have to go back and start thinking, how do we see the profile here? So we mapped the entirety of the country. But if you want to filter it down, for example, and this is lagging a bit, but I'm trying to focus on Kebbi State. If we filter it based on Kebbi, from the 154,000, you would see that it is reduced to 5,300. And I would authoritatively say that this is a very generous number. I've seen states that have just about the entirety of the communities, they are under 1,000. But Kebbi is one of the top 10 that we have based on the communities that we have. And that would mean, if we're serious about this, it would fetch most, if not all, of the money that we have. We can then start to see, how do we maybe segment this based on how can we take a profile of a community and see what it looks like? How do we see that? So we can filter this and say communities that are not connected to the distribution line, for example. I know this is a bit technical, but this is some of the work that we do to differentiate between communities that are grid and off the grid. Show light at night, we also take it out, and that will give us about 2,350 off-grid communities out of the 5,000 that we have. Off-grid may mean there's some poles and some wires, but there hasn't been grid presence in maybe 5-7 years. So we'd consider that as off-grid as well. And you see on the left some communities, okay. Is there something wrong? I'm still sharing. Oh. Apologies, Your Excellency. I'm trying to see if I can improve the network. Okay. Okay. Emmanuel, is it back? Unfortunately, I would just be speaking. If there is no visualization, it'd be hard for you to get it. But I'll just try and. Okay. Okay, it's back. Sorry. Okay, it's back. Sorry. Okay. Back. Okay. Okay, anyway, Your Excellency, what I would be able to show here is, if we go into the profile, we have about 2,350 sites that are off-grid, and I hope it would show before I leave here. Okay, yes, it's back, sorry. On the left side there, you would see about 2,350 out of the 154,000. And if we take out this filter, you would see that it's already highlighting just a little bit area of where Kebbi is on the map. It's a bit slow from the screen, but I have just seen one community that I'll be able to probably showcase. Again, it's a bit slow, but from what I can see on the screen, I'm able to see the name of the community, the local government that we have. Kebbi. Okay, you can see it from the dots that covers the entirety of the country. It's now selecting where Kebbi State is. If we narrow into one of the communities there, which would show maybe in some infinite minutes or seconds there, you would see from the name of the community to the local government of that community to the GPS coordinates, it will show you the size of the community based on the settlement area. We have about 0.73 for Kebbi community in Yauri local government. It has about 2,000, and that's the community I'm talking about. It has about 2,000 connections. Well, it would say here that it's 2,000. It would show about 2,000 number of buildings, but myself and the private sector developers here would know that that's connections for them. It would even categorize it based on the sizes of the community, the households. Here you would see large buildings, small buildings, very small buildings. You would see schools and hospitals listed. These schools and hospitals would serve as anchor loads because their consumption is usually more than what you have in households. Technically, it would work for mini-grid developers because they would want to deploy electricity and see that it is being used. We would also see the population. It's saying about 5,163 people within the community, so covering about 1,900 houses. Accessibility, so is there access road? It says 0 here, which means there is access road that takes you to that community. There are social economic indicators such as 2 educational facilities. From there you would see these are supposed to be icons that show the graduation hat. So these 2 indicate schools, and this is a plus sign that shows a hospital. For projects that target hospitals, for example, this is how we know where to deploy them. And then we go on to even have some form of design that would give us an idea of how much electricity would they need. This is showing about 1.5 megawatt, which is quite big, but it's also factoring in the productivity of that community and even the growth. So how would it grow within the next 1-2 years? MD usually speak about a community that we went to in Nasarawa, and within a year they're saying we need double or triple what you have deployed because electricity brings some of this productivity. There's also other indicators such as agriculture indicators, like I think pearl millet, sorghum, cowpea, groundnut, and maize are the chief dominant crops within the community. We also have like fatalities within the 25 kilometers in that community. What has happened in terms of armed conflicts between 2020 and about 2024, that's also showcased here. This is just one community, and for each of the 154,000 communities that we show here, we can narrow down to see all of these tiny details. These are what these developers are usually after. Whenever I sit down here, I get mammoth of people asking me, and I'm sure today they will tell me, please, can you just download this Kebbi numbers and give me, because I want to start talking to them. And that's what we're hoping at the end of the day. I hope His Excellency and the government of Kebbi State are able to see that I think Kebbi is a gold mine. If not for us, then for the developers that are out there. I hope that our private companies sitting behind us are able to see that the opportunities in Kebbi are also really a lot. And I hope that myself, the REA management, the MD, are able to showcase that REA is actually on top of things and able to manage the entire ecosystem of renewable energy planning and deployment, from mapping the entire country to managing relationships between state, federal government, the developers, the host communities, the funders, that's the donor partners that give us this grant. And I hope that this demonstration is able to show the availability of sites in Kebbi State, the availability of funds in REA, and the availability of private companies that will take the drive, and above all, the willingness to work together to electrify the entirety of the state of Kebbi, one community at a time. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, MD.
Thank you for that data-driven presentation, Mohammed Rubiru. I mean, quality data remains central to the work that we do at RA, and of course, for the sector in its entirety. So we'll continue to fine-tune and update these data sets. so that it will be useful to the state government. We're still planning a hard stop at 4:30, and I plan to keep to that time because His Excellency has other very critical engagements. Quickly, I'll be calling on the Honorable Commissioner of Budget and Economic Planning for Kebbi State, Dr. Abba Kalgo, for his presentation.
Thank you very much, MC. Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kebbi State, ably represented by His Excellency, the Deputy Governor, Senator Omar Abakar Tafid and Kebbi, my big brother, the MD of the Rural Electrification Agency, and his wonderful executive management team, my other brother, Engineer Femi Akin-Yelure. It's good to see you again. It's good to be here. Your Excellency, I'm making a presentation titled Unlocking Renewable Energy Opportunities for Sustainable Growth in Kebbi State. Next slide, please. Kebbi State at a glance. A lot has been said about Kebbi today. The MD and all the presenters have made a fabulous attempt at presenting what Kebbi is. But for the benefit of those who are seeing Kebbi for the first time, I'll just quickly go through. We're a state of population of about 6 million people, of which 70% of our people are in the rural areas. About 70% of them are also agrarian farmers. Electricity access rate is about 35 to 40%, which is below the national average of 55%. But we are also a major agricultural hub. We're home to the largest rice mill in sub-Saharan Africa. That is the TGI rice mill in Argungu. We're primarily a hub for agricultural production for millet and a lot of other agricultural commodities. We're also big on livestock and fisheries. We're the entry point for the River Niger into Nigeria. We're also the point where 3 countries meet. So we neighbor Niger Republic as well as Benin Republic. So that means that we're ideally placed for cross-border trade. One of the things that the MD kept mentioning during his speech was, during his remarks, was enabling environment, and he kept hammering on that. And I'm happy to say that for us in Kebbi, we are one of the states that we believe that we have created an enabling environment for private sector players. The ease of doing business rankings back up what I say. I think we're 4th in the latest rankings, and we've consistently been in the top 10 of those rankings in the last couple of years. So I think, MD, to allay your fears on that, I think ease of doing business, we're ready to go. I always say that Kebbi is one of those states that we're silent, but when the private players come, they'll see that we're a plug-and-play state. You come in and then everything just rolls off like it's very easy to do business in Kebbi State, and that is because of the commitment of His Excellency and also the Deputy Governor of the state. They do such an excellent job of making investors very comfortable when they come to the state. Next slide, please. The rural access energy gap in Kebbi. I mean, Kebbi is not peculiar in this aspect with the rest of states in Nigeria. There's a lot of gaps. We have dispersed settlements, and the vast geography makes it a bit uneconomical for grid expansion. So that makes us ideal candidates for mini grids, as you've heard from a lot of other speakers. We do have high poverty rates that we hope that energy access will significantly reduce, and that is why we're gathered in this room. We hope that by the time we're going back to Bringing Kebbi today, perhaps maybe I'll have maybe 20 or 30 or perhaps 100 rescues following us to Kebbi, just so that we can get this thing off the ground. So we have a few anchor customers in rural areas, and that limits the stability. But again, like I said, with energy access, you will see increased economic activity, and the multiplier effect will be there, and that will make these grids sustainable. Next slide, please. Again, there's no gain saying that we are next to the Sahara, so the solar resource is not in doubt. I mean, we're modern. The geography from that aspect makes us ideally placed for solar mini grids. Mini grids, as you've all heard, are cost-effective solutions to alternatives to costly mini grid expansion, national grid expansion. Like I mentioned, because we are an agrarian state, because a lot of our economic activity is based across the agricultural sector, and because we have a lot of post-harvest losses, it's a no-brainer for us. We need this solar access to ensure that we reduce post-harvest losses, but we also increase productivity in our farms, in our livestock businesses, and that is why we're also gathered in this room. Next slide, please. Again, this has been, I don't think there's any need to sit on this slide because I think over the last couple of presentations, I think this has already been. So again, in terms of a pathway to sustainable growth, community mapping, that is what the TA of the MD has already, luckily we don't have to do that. The REA has done an excellent job for that, and MD, we thank you very much, and we thank you for the work that you do. The DG of the investment promotion is here, so we also have a pipeline of development priority projects that are already that have already been identified at different stages of feasibility studies. So the DG of the investment promotion is also to add that. Just to reiterate the point I made about Kebbi being very, very business friendly. We are one of the states that got catalytic funding from the Africa Development Bank for the agri-industrial hub, the SAPZ Phase 2. And again, it bears testament to how well and ideally placed we are and the kind of work that we put in to make sure that we are able to attract as much investment as possible. So again, perhaps maybe as part of this conversation, when we're leaving, perhaps maybe the RESCOs can also engage us on that level and see whether or not there are opportunities that can be exploited around that path. So I'm more than happy to take that conversation up with anybody who's interested. We also, of course, would like to see pilot projects in strategic clusters to demonstrate the viability, strengthen PPP frameworks to attract RESCOs. Again, this is why we're gathered in this room, and I hope that it is one of the takeaways. And we hope also, as part of the pathway, to see joint monitoring to ensure sustainability, transparency, and impact. Next slide, please. So to conclude, Kebbi stands at the threshold of an energy transformation. With REA's partnership, the state can bridge infrastructural gaps, unlock renewable energy resources, and build a resilient electricity market that powers sustainable growth, supports agriculture, creates jobs, and drives socio-economic inclusion across all communities. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, I hope I kept to time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner. Thanks for keeping to time. Yes, you did keep to time. The MD, REA, the executive members of the REA, ladies and gentlemen, and of course the amazing RESCOs in the room, join me as I invite His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Kebbi State, for his remarks.
No. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله على نبي الكريم. The Managing Director, Rural Electrification Agency, REA, and the able executive management team of REA, the staff and officers of REA here with us, Honorable Commissioner, Budget and Economic Planning, Kebbi State, Honorable Commissioner, Transport and Renewable Energy, from Kebbi State, former Minister of Power, the senior government officials here with us, the chief executive officers and representatives of renewable energy service companies here with us, the chairman of Kebbi State Investment, and also the DG of Kebbi State Investment here, all development partners here with us, my brother, Engineer Dr. Gondu, and all our brothers and sisters from Kebbi. But today, by extension, we are all Kebbians here today. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, good afternoon. Let me use this opportunity to first of all appreciate and to commend the MD and management of REA for the very good work they have done in coming off with the data and the information from Kebbi State that we are discussing on. Thank you so much for that very good work. I want to give you the assurance that Kebbi State government will do all it takes and give you all the necessary support in ensuring that every need in Kebbi State is fully energized and any need or community will be left behind by the special grace of God. I'll come on board on all you mentioned, all your programs, most especially EHAT, and ensure that we give support to you in collaboration with either REA and also allowing private sector financing to come in and take over immediately. But whatever we are going to do, we give you the assurance that the state government support will be there for you 100%. I'm here, standing here for the governor of Kebbi State, Dr. Nasir Idris Orongondu, who is unavoidably absent because of exigencies of office. And I'm going to read the speech where I said I am referring to the state governor, not my person. It is with great pleasure that I stand before you today at this very important gathering. I want to begin by appreciating the Rural Electrification Agency, our co-host, for their vision and partnership. I also thank every one of you here, our development partners, private sector leaders, innovators, and friends of Kebbi State, for making the effort to join us today. Your presence is not just an honor, it's a sign of our commitment, and for that, we are deeply grateful. The theme of today's roundtable, Bridging Infrastructure Gap, Igniting Innovative Growth for a Resilient Electricity Market in Kebbi State, speaks directly to both our challenges and our opportunities. In Kebbi State, as in many parts of Nigeria, we know too well what it means to live with limited electricity. We know the struggles of students trying to read by candlelight, of hospitals forced to depend on noisy generators, of farmers who cannot process their crops, and of businesses that lose money every day because of poor power supply. But we also know something else. We know that when electricity comes, everything changes. The school becomes a place of learning after dark, the hospital becomes safer, businesses can expand, farmers can store and process their harvest, and young people can innovate with confidence. Electricity is not just power. It is hope, it's opportunity, it is life. This is why we're here today. We're here because we believe in the future of Kebbi State. We believe that with the right partnership, investments, and policies, we can bridge the infrastructure gap and build a truly resilient electricity market that will drive growth in our state and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, Kebbi State is open for business. We're a land blessed not only with fertile land and abundant water for agriculture, but also with people who are hardworking, resilient, and eager to succeed. We are blessed with peace and a culture of hospitality. What we now seek are strong partners, investors, innovators, and development actors to join hands with us and unlock the vast potential that is waiting in our state. Let me give you the assurance here today. Kebbi State is committed to creating and sustaining an enabling environment for all investors. Security is and will continue to be our priority. We know that investments cannot thrive without safety, and we are working hand in hand with all security agencies, local communities, and traditional leaders to ensure that peace and stability remains our strength. Beyond security, we are focused on policies and support growth. We are cutting down barriers, opening up opportunities, and making sure that investors who come to Kebbi do not just find a place to invest, but a place to truly grow with us. To our partners and potential investors here today, let me say this clearly. Your investment in Kebbi will not only be safe, they will be valued and protected. Our doors are open, our hands are extended, and our commitment is firm. We are ready to listen to you, to support you, and work with you every step of the way. The roundtable is not just another meeting, it's a declaration of intent. It's a message that we are ready to act, to collaborate, and to deliver real results. It's a chance to align our vision, that of our government, that of investors, and that of our communities, to ensure that the people of Kebbi never have to live in darkness again. We dream of Kebbi where every village and every community has access to affordable and reliable electricity. A Kebbi where young people find jobs because industries are powered. A Kebbi where women can grow small businesses, farmers can process rice, wheat, and onions with modern technology, and health centers can function without fear of power failures. This is the future we are working towards. This is the future we believe in, and with your partnership, this is the future we will achieve. On behalf of the government and the people of Kebbi State, I thank you once again for your trust, your vision, and your readiness to work with us. Together, let us bridge the gaps, light of Kebbi State, and by so doing, light of Nigeria. Thank you, and may God bless all. God bless all.
Thank you, Your Excellency Umar Abubakar Tafida, the Deputy Governor of Kebbi State. So I think we've kept to time more or less, so we'll be able to accommodate the next item on the agenda as is before we go into the MOU signing. There was a lot of carryovers from the last roundtable, so please keep your requests coming if you're a RESCO in the room with commitments to deploy projects or work in Kebbi State. Please keep your requests coming. And you have your 1 minute spotlight. So you can give it directly to me or to Delphine at the registration desk. Thank you. Quickly, I think we should start with the ladies this time around. I'll be calling on Sosei Energy for her 1 minute spotlight. A Solar should be on standby. C Solar should be on standby. EG should be on standby. 1 minute each, please. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Good afternoon, Your Excellency. All protocols observed. Within 1 minute, I think I will just do all protocols observed. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address you today. My name is Habiba Ali. I am the founder and MD Sosei Renewable Energies Company, a company based in Kaduna and now Abuja. We deploy renewable energy solutions across rural northern Nigeria. We have actually had the opportunity in the last NEP to be given some communities in Kebbi to deploy solar home systems. So we did a bit of work there as well. Going forward, we recently signed a mandate letter with International Finance Corporation, that's the IFC, to have funding of up to $19 million to fund our projects across the northern region of Nigeria. And I want to promise that Kebbi State will be one of the states that we'll be working in, because we have been working in Zamfara and it's in close proximity with Kebbi as well to deploy mini and mesh grids. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sosei. You've set the standard, so let's hope and pray every other RESCO keeps to that standard of timeliness. Okay, Air Solar, let's have you. Then NEO, C Solar, then Exenergia, EG.
Your Excellency, please permit me to stand on existing protocols. My name is Hakim Shagaya, the CEO of A Solar. We've been in the renewable energy industry for quite a while, and I think we're the largest solar home system indigenous company in the country. We have about 200,000 connections spread across mainly northern Nigeria. I think we have some connections in Kebbi already. Under the NEP, we certainly were one of the larger companies that installed for the NEP. In terms of mini-grids, we've also installed quite a few private mini-grid power plants. Our main strength is local banks. We're one of those companies that have found innovative ways of working with local financial institutions. And all the time, I just speak for local developers. I will encourage every state to always go with the local people first, because when you build strong local partners, then you can have the good foreign partners to back us. We're always open for business. We're a very strong partner of REA, and we do believe that there's a lot more business to be done. We hope that there's a simple way of doing business in the States, and we look forward to coming to your state. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Esola. Neo, your 1 minute, please.
Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on existing protocols. My name is Okenwa Anayo Nas. I'm the MD CEO of Nayo Technology.
I stand on a very unique position. We've been operating in Kebbi State. In fact, we have an existing 100 kilowatts mini grid in Kebbi that has been running for 6 years. It was graciously supported by amiable ref director. That project is one of our most profitable projects, I must add. In fact, it was our first mini grid to return investment in less than 4 years. It was commissioned by a rural electrification agency in 2019. We currently have surveyed over 92 communities in Kebbi. This is like boots on ground. We've been from Gabe and Yauri up to Ariwa in the north, where we've been operating. We currently have 9 staffs based in Kebbi, in Benin Kebbi. We did the healthcare projects, the 50 kilowatts in the 2 health centers in Kebbi. We currently have about 23 productive use machines operating around Kebbi State, and we have a network of partners on ground in Kebbi at the moment. Actually, we've been operating on the fringe, B2B, but we've been crying for this opportunity to come where we can have a direct engagement. We've been pushing for government to have a kind of a help desk where would be rescuers or, developers like us could have a direct engagement for regulatory needs and other community issues. Kebbi has been very accommodating and welcoming. It's like I will be in Kebbi next week again. So I often go, we have team on ground there. So I encourage other developers to come in. There is insecurity everywhere, but again, it's our home. We have to build it, and we have to hold our ground, and we improve, and then things will get better. Since we've been operating in Kare, which is sitting 300 meters from Niger, for 7 years, we've not had a single security incident. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nayo. Is C Solar in the room? Okay. C Solar, 1 minute, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's really nice to be here. Thank you, MD. Thank you, everyone. Let's stand on all 16 protocols. We are excited about this. REA has always been leading the pace. We know that Kebbi State is not going to be any different. We are happy to visit Kebbi State, to establish in Kebbi State. Definitely, we know that there's a lot of agricultural potential, especially rice farmers, and we know that in the rural areas, what we need is to power productivity for these farmers, and we're happy to be there to support, to give you all you need from C-Solar. Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone, again.
Thank you, C-Solar, for that commitment. More commitments. Exonergia, EG. Can you have your 1 minute, please? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, please permit me to stand on existing protocols. Abba has put me on the spot. I think he's determined that I stand here today and make my commitment, not just to my in-laws, but also to Kebbi State as a whole. The commitment is not just to say we want to do rural, renewable energy in rural areas, but to impact on lives, to address issues that we struggle with. For me, I've always said that power for its own sake is not useful power. It's power for useful, productive use that counts. That's the sort of power, and this is something I've drummed up over the years, and somehow Abba got to know about my connections to the state, and he's dragged me to this. It made me come back from the UK yesterday, and to publicly state my commitment to the progress of Kebbi State. We were highly involved in transmission projects and distribution projects, but we've percolated downwards more towards renewable. And I must say, when I was a minister, the cost of renewable energy was quite exorbitant and prohibitive that it wasn't really part of the consideration that much. We knew that we had issues at the margin, but we didn't see at that time the price coming out as much as it has done over the years to make this impact, which puts RE in a wonderful position. And the commitment, as I said, is not just to do such projects, but to see how we as a company can add to that success, which I'm so glad to be part of. Here I say to you boldly today that you will see more of us in Kebbi State. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, EG. Do we have Carlot? Carlot on standby. Zylab and Fox Power. Is Carlot on the... Okay, let's have Zylab and Fox Power. One minute, please, so that we can round up. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Deputy Governor of Kebbi State, our amiable and performing MDC of REA, please permit me to stand or observe existing protocol. My name is Engineer Lawrence Osakwe, and I'm the MDC of Gov't Energy Limited, and Kebbi State has been a state of interest to us, and I want to use this opportunity on behalf of Gov't Energy to make a commitment to come to Kebbi State and develop mini-grid. And Dr. Abba, like you said, our bags are already packed. Thank you very much.
Just take note that we're tracking all these commitments and we'll hold every RESCO to it. Thanks so much for your continued partnership with the area and the state governments. Zylab and then Fox Power should be on standby. Then we close for this session. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, the Executive Governor, MD REA, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Emeka Obienyi. I am the MD Zylab Technologies Nigerian Limited. I want to discuss about the regulators. This is to the Executive Governor because he needs to know and hear about it. To build a mini grid before, NEC doesn't charge money to issue you document to go and build. But now, states are in charge. We have a state where we want to build mini grid. 24 sites we are processed using NEC. When I say NEC, I mean Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. They did not charge us money. But now the state are in charge. They're asking us to pay 2.5 million for one. So if you want to build 8 mini grid, you pay them 10 million. But remember, this 10 million did not guarantee that REA will accept your project. So, Governor, please do not allow the regulators to do this in your state. So what I want to do now is that those few mini sites that have been approved by NEC before state took over, we will go and build those ones. After that, we become an orphan. We start to look for another state where we belong. Maybe we'll come to Kebbi. Okay. Since MD say we should come, MD, let your people be my people and let your God be my God. So we shall go. That is one. Please, Your Excellency, the Governor, remember, check, regulate the regulators. That is one. Then two, there is this governor that came. After I made my presentation, I sat down. A lady came to me and said, "Excuse me, sir, I'm a bank manager from that state. I said, which bank? You mentioned the name of bank. I said, no. Your bank do not know renewable energy. He said, no. The governor has put 20 billion in my own branch. He said, anyone that qualify should come to the state, come to this branch, take loan from this money. You see, they made it easy. Although there is 100 billion naira with FCMB, which they've signed an agreement with REA. But if other states can provide something like that, choose a bank of your own, a branch of your own in your state, on the condition that this loan will be utilized in your state. You are not dashing them the money. Rather, you are making sure that all these race courses will run to your own state because source of financing wouldn't be a problem to them. Please, I've spoken more than 1 minute. Let me stop here so that I will have something to say when another state come.
Thank you, Zylab, the ever-passionate Zylab. Fox Power. Okay. Then let's have PVG Solar on standby, please.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Kebbi State, my brother and my friend, Uncle Abba and his team, my colleagues and stakeholders. I want to express that we are really interested in Kebbi State. My name is Jane Alabi. I'm the Director of Business and Strategy. We are interested in Kebbi State. Upon site identification, viability checks, and full support from the Kebbi State government, you know, in terms of security of our team and our investment. So, presently, we have a 10 billion naira first phase funding available, and we're interested in deploying it into Kebbi State. And we're happy to partner with the government to drive economic growth as well as sustainability. Thank you.
PVG Solar.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, the MD of REA and the management team. Please let me stand on the existing protocol. At PVG Solar, we are committed to renewable energy manufacturing in Nigeria. We are setting up a 500 megawatt solar PV manufacturing here in Abuja. And our long-term plan, not just solar PV panels, we are looking at the lateral integration to other products that will be used for full deployment in mini-grid projects. We are looking at solar battery assembly, inverter assembly, solar street lights, and as well as smart metering assembly. So this value chain is what we are trying to create in PVG Solar. And as a matter of fact, whilst Abuja project is ongoing, we are already in discussion with some other states because we want to have at least one manufacturing site in each of the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. And we are here expressing our willingness with good collaboration with Kebbi State to set up a manufacturing place in your state. Thank you.
Thank you so much, PVG Solar. The last on the list is IRS Global. IRS Global, are you in the room for your 1 minute? We need to go straight into the MOU signing right away. Director Legal, REA, are you ready for the MOU signing? Okay. Apparently, IRS Global left the room. I cited him just a few seconds ago. News engineering. News engineering, can you do 30 seconds? Okay, let's give you 30 seconds, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Good afternoon, the most sought-after MD in Nigeria. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lady Josephine Ojimadu, the Managing Director of News Engineering, a company that has been in existence for the past 4 decades. We started by doing statewide rural electrification. We also generate, we transmit, and we had built a lot of substations across the major cities in Nigeria. We did the first transmission line project from Gombe to Dama through 330 kV transmission line project. So our profile is very intimidating. And because we are a forward-thinking company, we had equally, built a lot of capacity in renewable energy projects. We had constructed a handful of mini grids. We executed the pilot project of Ministry of Power in Sokoto to Rankawa State. As a result of that project, we did a repeat procurement at Kuchi in Niger State. So we have a lot of projects to our credit, and we'll be willing and ready to come to Kebbi State, given an enabling environment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, News Engineering. RS Global is here. RS Global, 20 seconds.
Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor, the Managing Director, Rural Electrification Agency, and your team, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I was called out by Aresco. I just realized that it was a sabotage, so I just came back. Your Excellency, it's a pleasure to see you again, and looking forward to partnering with Kebbi State, a very blessed, resourceful state with good leadership. We've been following up with what you have been doing. It's very impressive, and this is what we expect from purposeful, committed, patriotic leaders, and we wish you the very best. We are willing and are able to partner with Kebbi State, especially in the area of EPCs, in the area of solar panel assembly plants. We are right now putting up a 600 megawatt solar panel assembly plant that will serve the northern part of Nigeria. We're also putting one up in the south that will be there for the south. But part of the things we are trying to do, especially under your agrarian community, is to provide solar-powered equipment that will help agriculture, and specifically in the area of vegetables. I know you produce a lot of onions, so we are putting up a cold storage system that will help your farmers save from the losses they incur, post-harvest losses, onions, tomatoes, peppers, and so on and so forth. We're also going to extend that for the storage of fish, because I know Yawuri is one of the areas that we get a lot of fish. We have already sent our electric tricycle to Kebbi State, which His Excellency has viewed and has, I think, most likely approved for deployment in Kebbi State. It is a tricycle that is powered by a 6 kilowatt lithium ion battery with a 450 watt solar panel, panel on top that lasts for 6 years, the batteries, and on one charge of 3,000, you can cover 150 to 170 kilometers. It doesn't require any maintenance. It doesn't require any filters or engine oil and so on and so forth. It has a lot of facilities, and I know it will be very suitable for your state. We are planning to be in Kebbi State assembling that tricycle by the end of this year, inshallah. We're also going to try to employ at least 20 indigents of Kebbi State to send them to China for maintenance, repair, and installation of solar panels for mini grids, both integrated and off-grid. Because if you look at it, the grid parity today is very favorable. The cost of power from solar is much now lower than the grid, not to talk about diesel generators. Therefore, partnering with REA is one of the smartest things any state can do, especially with the leadership of the MD. I don't know if he's an indigent of Kebbi State because he's an indigent of so many other states, but I am impressed with the leadership of REA, the way they work with the states, and very soon, I'm sure the low power energy we are getting, the lack of electricity we are getting, will be a thing of the past. Again, congratulations, and looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, IRS Global. I'm happy you've continued to market your three-wheelers EV. It's very important for us to optimize these facilities. Lastly, before we go into the MOU signing, horsepower. Horsepower, we are ready for MOU signing, so can you do 20 seconds?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Governor. Standing on an existing protocol, my name is Richard Ikemifuna Chidebe, Site Acquisition Manager for Hawks Power. Hawks Power is currently in 40 communities in Nasarawa, and we are looking at expanding that relationship in Kebbi. We have a healthy relationship in Nasarawa, and we hope to come to Kebbi and bring that same support to Kebbi. Thank you very much.
Okay, Safaga, over to you. 20 seconds, hopefully.
Your Excellency and the MDREA, thank you for the opportunity. My name is God Bless Safwa. I'm the MD of Safaga Renewable Energy Limited. And fortunately, I was born and brought up in Kebbi State, Zuru to be precise. And recently, we went to Niger State to have about 9 mini-grids. We've already done the site assessment, and those mini-grids are very close to Kebbi State, Rijio local government area, which is very close to Zuru, just some few kilometers away from Zuru. So we hope that we should be able to cross over the borders and go into Kebbi State. At least I will start from my own catchment area. That would be Zuru, Danko, Wasagu, and the rest of them around that river area. We'll be ready to go to that area and provide some mini-grid. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Safaga. Your Excellency, kindly permit us to go straight into the MOU signing. I'll be calling on the MDREA, of course, the Honorable Commissioner, Transport and Renewable Energy, Kebbi State. Immediately after the signing, we'll invite His Excellency, the Deputy Governor, up the stage. MDREA, sir. Honorable Commissioner, Transport and Renewable Energy. The executive management, and of course the members of the state executive should also join us, please. The executive management of REA, as well as the state executive. Let's try and clear the pathway for the live camera from NTA, please. Thank you. For media, we'll be doing the group photograph immediately after the signing, not afterwards. Thank you. So kindly be on standby. Yes. Yes, the group photographs, please. No, we'll have it here. We'll have the rest codes now. For the rest codes in the room, if you would like to join the group photographs, now is the time. Thank you. Rescos, you can come up if you want to join the group photographs. Thank you.